What they are allowing you to do is they're allowing you to stretch your mind without challenging it too much, which, I think sometimes is very good, because sometimes what we do is we challenge ourselves too strongly. And astrology is about imagery. It's about making associations between imagery, whether it's color, whether it's form, whether it's music, whether it's verbal imagery, like the idea of water. Water it can represent so many different things, like the cover of the Daily News when it said the Pope something and rain,
I didn't see that one, but that's all right.
Yeah, but water is important. Fire, when you think of all the different things that fire can do, fire can heat you, it can cook food for you, it can make you meditate. You stare into a fire, or you look at a candle and you go off into kind of a reverie, another kind of place. But it can also burn you. So what you want to do is you want to take these images, and I think the astrology magazines will try and do that. I mean, if you'll notice, they're a little bit like I am. They're kind of cagey. They don't exactly say, that this is going to happen or that's going to happen, but the indications are. And I think that that's important, because the reason why they do it and why I do it is because they believe that we should all be responsible for ourselves. Mm-hmm. They're indications, but we're trying to stimulate that part of the brain that helps you to realize that associations are very important. This friend of mine the other day was just doodling. He woke up from a nap, and he doodled on the pad. This was last week, before the verdict. Othello loves Jell-O.
What?
I know, it doesn't make any sense at all, but I thought this was terribly funny, because it brought all kinds of images to my mind. First of all, congealed water. Jell-O, right?
Go on.
And, OJ's Cancer, a water sign. And in a way, there was something about this verdict that was like a frozen moment in time. So you kind of want to make those kinds of associations. And you don't have to agree with mine. You may not think Othello loves Jell-O is funny. But those kind of nonsensical, not necessarily logical, linear ways of thinking are one of the things that astrology is about. Now, it's also about science. I mean, the ancient belief was that you had to do both. You had to be very concrete, and you had to be very specific about numbers, and try to set things up, to the very best of your ability with science. But at the same time, which I think science, has left behind for quite some time, you have to let yourself dream. And Einstein talked about that. He talked about how dreams were important, and, the spiritual was important. And, this new fellow, Stephen Hawking's the one in the wheelchair, A Brief History of Time, and he's the one that's been talking about black holes and all these new physics ideas, He has the same chair at Oxford, I believe, that Isaac Newton had. And he also is a dreamer. He also allows himself to understand that these associations are things that are not necessarily only going to come from very, very hard work. But you have to do the hard work. You have to be scientific. You have to be logical. You have to be, try to be as knowledgeable as you can, but you can't forget to dream. You can't forget to make these weird associations and trust them. There's a reason why they're coming up.
What about the person, though, who sits there and obviously not taking any responsibility for anything says, well, these things just happened to me?
Well, that's not good. That's the point. You don't want to be one extreme or the other. You want to be someone that says that I'm going to try my very hardest to give very logical, concrete answers. I'm going to try to understand E equals MC squared, which I don't. But
that's Einstein.
I try. I do try to understand the nature of gravity. I won't probably ever be a physicist, but I acknowledge that these are very, very important things. At the same time, I also acknowledge that which is totally, this is why Walt Disney was so successful, and Fantasia, the movie Fantasia. If you see it, there really is very little story to it. It's all about these brooms that are dancing and, things that are,
It's a flight from reality, though, isn't it?
Well, but we want to do both. We want to have, it's not necessarily a flight from reality. Flight kind of gives the connotation of being negative. And the point is that illusion is as important as reality. One has to have both. It's just that sometimes we get caught up in one extreme or the other of it. You know, we try to be too fanatical about, well, it's got to be this way, you know, reality's got to be this way. And then other times we talk about fantasy. We just want to escape completely into it. You know, we want to go to the movies and never come out, you know, just stay in that dark theater.
Or at least not be challenged.
Right.
We're talking to Mary Michele on Friday's edition to Meet the VIPs. We'll be back just about a minute and a half away. And if you have a question, 241-1310, the number to call.
Money sense. It's something we all need, especially when it comes to investing and planning for retirement or protecting assets and income. Money sense is what we have now every Wednesday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Certified financial planner Bob Reeby offers a full hour of timely financial news, information, and opinion. It's live, it's local, and it could be the most important hour of your week. Money Sense with Bob Reeby every Wednesday morning at 9 on the one and only VIP 1310 AM.
And we will rejoin Mary Michele just a couple of seconds away here on WVIP. If you have a question about astrology, 241-1310, the number to call. Hi, this is Mike Sarnoff with an invitation for you to join Lori Blanchard and me this Saturday, October 7th from 9 to noon at the Pit Stop, 242 Main Street, Mount Kisco. We're there for a VIP fuel system cleaning special. Normally $39.95, just $29.95, but only if you come down and visit between 9 and noon this Saturday. And while we're there, we'll have free coffee, bagels, and more. So come on down, say hi, get your car ready for winter driving with the VIP fuel system cleaning special, but only at the Pit Stop. Well, Lori and I are there Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon. The Pit Stop, 242 Main Street, Mount Kisco. We'll see you there. All right, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning between 9 and noon. We'll be at the Pit Stop in Mount Kisco. 8 minutes before the hour, and if you have a question for Mary Michele, 241-1310, the number to call. Lou called, said he could not stay on the line. Date of birth, April 14th, 1962. 4/14/62. His question was, where is his career going?
Okay, this person has the sun in Aries, the moon in Leo, Mercury in Aries, Venus in Taurus, Mars in Pisces, Jupiter in Pisces. You know, the sun, moon, and Mercury in fire signs makes this person a very, very creative person. Also very inspirational. The nature of a lot of fire signs, the preponderance of fire signs, is that sometimes there's a certain lack of practicality. With this moon Mars conjunction in Pisces, well, it's quite wide. But anyway, both Jupiter in Pisces is about, you know, expanding, always wanting to expand in areas of philosophy and history and trying to understand things. Mars in Pisces is not a particularly healthy place. Mars is and it's also the ruler of the sun, his sun sign, with the sun in Aries. So this is someone that really has trouble sticking up for himself. I don't know in terms of, I would say though that the odds are with Venus and Taurus that things will come to you in terms of you do understand how to make your career move in the direction that you want it to. And things come up often enough to stimulate you. Certainly this configuration that we're having in the end of November, there'll be 7 planets in the sign of Sagittarius. This is going to be a very, very busy time for you. You know, if there are new projects in the works, if you're interested in you know, trying to figure out new ways to make the job work or move on, however you want to play it, it's a very good time to do that. These planets in Sagittarius are going to give you a tremendous energy. You are going to have to worry about this Mars in Pisces, though, so you have to somehow figure out a way to get better at fighting your battles.
Question.
Thanks for calling.
You said 7 in Sag, new movie. 7 in Sag, you know. Is that just going to affect somebody who was born in April, or is that... You've mentioned this a couple of times, the end of this this coming month. Big trouble.
It's not, well, I mean...
It is a time of, decision? I don't know.
Well, it always depends on how you choose to, look at it. And also, in everybody's chart, it depends on where Sagittarius is in your chart. I have it conjunct the planet Chiron, which is something I haven't talked about before.
Oh. Are we playing Superman here? What? The what planet?
Chiron.
Chiron. Excuse me, I don't think I've heard of this one in our solar system.
Chiron is a planetoid that was discovered in 1971. They don't know whether it's an asteroid or a planet.
I see. I've been out of school so long I didn't learn that.
But Chiron was also the teacher of Hercules. He was the man that was half horse and half man. He, in the myths and, in astrology as we're working with him today, he's the person that is the wounded healer, because what happened is he got wounded in the foot, and he ended up giving up his immortality, I guess the pain, after dealing with the pain for a certain amount of time. But the point is, with Chiron, this is where your Achilles heel is, so to speak. And I have it in the sign of Sagittarius. So, for me, certainly there will be things that will happen in the end of November that might bring up all of the places, all of the times in my life that I've suffered, but I will perhaps in turn be able to give the experience of my suffering to other people. I mean, it's not like I'm going to, become some, great, perfect person or anything, but I think that it is going to be a good time for me in terms of communicating this idea of how we can conquer or, get past or transform ourselves from our own personal suffering. That will be my particular thing. With someone that has the sun in Sagittarius, the sun in Aries, or the sun in Leo, these are the fire signs. These people will be very heavily inspired during this time because the sun is about the will. They'll be able to initiate, take new action. I can't, I'd have to see an individual chart to say exactly how it's going to manifest, whether it would be more in relationships or in, their job or where they live or whatever. But the point is they'll have a lot of energy to creatively change. And I'm interested in this because of the nature of the sign of Sagittarius, which is basically the philosopher, the authority figure.
It's my wife. No, I'm sitting here and I'm very interested in what you're saying about, and this is going to happen the end of November.
Yeah.
Are there any other groups, real quick, who should be contemplating this particular time?
Well, it's a mutable sign. Sagittarius is a mutable sign. So the other mutable signs, Gemini, Pisces, and Virgo, will be tested at this time. But I like to think with the nature of the sign Sagittarius that they will be tested in a place of expansion, where they want to be tested. It will be a choice, and they will feel good about it. It will be exciting. It might be a little, confrontational, but to me, the nature of the sign Sagittarius is such they grow, it's about learning to grow within yourself. And so I see it as being basically a positive time for everybody.
Well, that's encouraging.
Yeah.
Mary Michele, thanks so much for joining with us today. We've been talking We could easily be playing theme from a summer place right now. 74 degrees outside. Steve Pellettieri's forecast, partly sunny, warm, humid today. Temperatures near 80 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy. Chance of a shower, low in the mid-50s. Tomorrow, partly sunny, mid-70s. Fair Saturday night 50s. Sunday, mostly sunny, near 70. Monday, Columbus Day, sunny, in the low 70s. Have a great weekend. We'll see you tomorrow at the pit stop between 9 and noon. You're listening to WVIP Mount Kisco. It's exactly 10 o'clock, time for ABC Information Radio News.
From ABC News, I'm Doug Limerick. One of the many generators now being used to provide emergency power on the devastated beaches of the Florida Panhandle. Many roads are still closed because of all the debris. Damage estimated at nearly $2 billion. ABC's Russ Wise standing by live at Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Russ, how long is it going to take folks there to recover?
John, the best estimate we've heard so far is at least 2 months. A big part of the problem is that a lot of areas are still inaccessible. The beachfront communities are pretty much being examined now by insurance estimators, but the small towns that are actually on the barrier islands still can't be reached, and that's where the most serious damages happen.
Thank you, Russ. ABC's Russ Wise live from the Florida Panhandle. At least 17 people died.